Hi guys, ArchieLuxury. Go to f2bbs.com. www.f2bbs.com. The last bastion of free speech on the interweb. That's right, guys. I want you to go to www.f2bbs.com. That's right. I want you to go there. You can, this is a great site to fight against all sorts of nastiness by posting on f2bbs.com, the last bastion of free speech on the interweb. Go there, guys. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury on the ArchieLuxury Paul Pluta channels, guys, please remember, I got more than one channel. I got the Paul Pluta channel, ArchieLuxury, and ArchieLuxury Corporate, guys. Check them all out. Guys, I gotta tell you, one and done. And I gotta be honest with you, I was doing a live stream the other day, and one of my panel guests said to me something really strange. He said he's really envious of somebody who has one watch, one and done. And that really got me thinking, one and done. And before we continue, let's do a quick wristwatch check. What am I wearing today? I'm wearing my Rolex Submariner date. Rolex 126610LN. This is the classic automatic Submariner, the new 41mm, just come out. And it's got the 72-hour power reserve. And it's got the newer 41mm size case and 21mm bracelet. Okay, so let's get back on the track here. One and done. And that's actually a very interesting thing. This world we live in, we have become so damn greedy. And it comes down to this. After World War II, there was rationing. It was considered ungentlemanly to hoard and collect things, because if you had more than one, you were depriving other people of having one. So it was actually considered pretty bad form to have a collection of stuff. And in wristwatches itself there, it's been no different. It's only really 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s that collecting has become fashionable. And one thing I gotta say is, one and done, big boy, one and done. What do you think of that idea? Just have one watch, one and done. Very interesting indeed there, one and done. You just wear one watch. And you know, it's funny, when I got my first Rolex, I got my first Rolex when I was 18 in 1990. And it's funny because before I had the Rolex, I had an Omega Seamaster. No, not a diving one. This was a quartz kind of, it was a quartz. They used to put Seamaster on everything, like Geneve, you know. It was a quartz watch. I put a gold Spidell bracelet because I wanted to be, you know, make it look like a gold watch when it wasn't gold. I actually gave that watch, when I got my Rolex, I didn't think, hey, I'd keep it. I gave it to my dad. I said, hey, this is a good watch. You're more than welcome to have it. I didn't think about, hey, what am I doing giving him my old watch? It was just, oh, I've got a Rolex, I'm just going to wear it, aren't I? I mean, why would you have a collection or keep a few of them? I never even thought about that. It's kind of funny. It never even crossed my mind I'd collect watches. Or I'd buy another one. I thought, oh, once I got my Rolex, that's it. What more could you possibly want? And it wasn't until, so I got that in 1990. It wasn't until, see, I came from Brisbane. We're a bit like the flyover states. We're not cool or trendy or hip. I'd never heard of second-hand watch dealers or pre-owned, or I mean, I know there were pawn shops. You could buy stuff at pawn shops, but they were sort of more for down and outers. They had a lot of garbage and TVs. If you stole a TV, that's where people flogged it. And you wouldn't expect quality watches like a Rolex there, even though they occasionally they did have good watches. So it was never a question of I didn't even know this community existed. It wasn't until 1996 that I saw an ad for a guy who was selling watches. And 1997, actually. 1997. There you go. 1997. 23 years ago. 24 years ago. That I realized, hey, you can actually get second-hand watches, and it kind of, the penny dropped. I immediately, there was a whole community, the interweb. This was going back to Windows 95. That's right, with the dial-up modems. There was things I remember. I couldn't believe it. I loved Rolex, and there was a whole community, and it was amazing. So that was when I first realized, hey, you can collect these things, and I went on to Time Zone and WatchNet and Time Zone. They were the big forums, and they had a for sale section. eBay was in its infancy. eBay, and it was the wild west on the interweb. But that's when I first realized, and then I discovered there were books on collecting watches. Before that time, there wasn't really a big community, or wasn't big thing. You still had newspapers. I found this was in a news. It was just crazy how it popped up like this. And I gotta tell you, now I look back on that and think, maybe one and done could be a great way. There's a great guy I watch. He's a South African guy. He's actually living in Perth in Western Australia, and he's a great four-wheel drive guy. His name's Andrew St. Pierre White, and he's a lovely guy. I love his videos. He does a lot of four-wheel drive. I think his channel's 4x Overlander, because he talks about making, he makes overland vehicles. So these are vehicles which you can take through he did the Canning stock route, which is just dirt road and nasty sort of tracking, and he's very much he's actually got an interesting story. I love his story. He started off Range Rover. He had a Range Rover, and then he was very much a Land Rover man, and then he went into Toyota, and he's never really looked back. He's very critical of electronic SUVs. He kind of says the best SUVs are ones you can fix on the road. So he's anti air suspension. It makes a lot of sense. His argument's actually pretty good. But this particular guy, he actually made a video. I'll put a link in it, about his Rolex. He tells his story. His brother had got an Omega, and he got a Rolex. He got a 1680 Submariner, and it's kind of been his piece of kit he's worn ever since. And he tells the story of how his brother, his Omega had a bit of condensation, but his Submariner, he just flipped it into hot water. He did all these crazy stuff with it, which it's a 1680 vintage sub. You just nearly, let's not go into that. But he's basically a one and done sort of guy. His Rolex has been a rugged instrument which he's used all his life. And I got to tell you, I've had a bit of a rethink on watches myself, and what I've done myself is I've really looked at watches and thought, you know, what do I went into fancy brands, Patek Philippe, the best of the best of the best. And then I still needed something. Every day I want to wear something every day. What do I put on? And I actually thought of Andrew St. Pierre White. I thought, you know what, sub-date is just so cool. And yeah, it's just such an interesting sort of thing there. But it's very, very, very cool sort of story there. It's one and done. And I gotta tell you, man, if you had to choose a one and done watch, Rolex really shines. I mean, if you want a one and done, I mean, I live in Brisbane, it's sort of tropical, you know, it's hot. You get sweaty in summer, so you don't really want something on a leather strap. You would also like something that is waterproof. If you're going to have it as a one and done, you'd want something waterproof. You want it in a good kind of a metal that can last. So gold would be a bit soft. Stainless steel is a good choice. So stainless steel on a stainless steel bracelet, preferably with waterproof capabilities. A date would be handy. A date would be really handy. And I got to tell you, some sort of novelty which men like, you know, like a rotating bezel. And I've got to be totally honest with you. You want something that's also not show-offy. You know, I used to want to show off, but now I kind of think back and I want to be a low-key, stylish, but not in your face, obnoxious, because I don't think that's cool. And I got to tell you, man, stainless steel Submariner, the Submariner date. It's got the bezel, I can time things. It's really quite an indestructible choice. It's a great watch. I mean, I always look careful with it if I'm mowing the grass or if I'm, you know, if I'm moving furniture. Take it off. I don't want to scratch it, because it may be steel and it may be pretty heavy duty, but if you're going to treat it badly, it'll get knocks and nicks, won't it? I wouldn't be fixing my car with my Rolex on. You know, it's sort of one, it's dangerous. If you're working in electrical or things like that, you take all jewelry and stuff off because it could get stuck or caught. Or so I got to be honest with you. I think one and done. I mean, it's anti-consumer. See, we're in this consumer society. We're told consume. The more you consume, the better. But in all honesty, consume isn't really the best, is it? You know, it's not really sustainable, and it makes us selfish little shits, doesn't it? But one and done. I kind of, why can't you be an enthusiast? Now, it comes down to this. I'm a huge classic car fan. I love, you know, vehicles, 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even modern. More of a Euro fan, you know, Euro like Mercedes. I love Maserati, Ferrari, Porsche, BMW, Jaguar. I'm more of a European fan. But does that mean I have to own one? To be a car buff, do I actually need to own one of these horror stories? Not really. I buy the magazines, classic car magazines. I love reading about them. Doesn't mean I have to actually buy one of these vehicles. And that's the same with watches. If you're a watch enthusiast, do you need to have multiple watches? I mean, can you not just have one and done and still love other watches? I don't know. This is the interesting thing. Sometimes the way society is now, we collect, we buy more. Instagram, when it'll be so great. But you can love these things. You don't have to actually own the damn things. In fact, sometimes it's better not to own the damn things. I mean, if you've got one wristwatch, you don't have to think about what am I going to wear today. You think, oh, I've only got one, you just put it on. You don't need to have security issues. Where do you store them? How do you look after them? Service costs and all these other things. So I've got to be totally honest with you. It's one and done. What do you think of that, guys? One and done. Could you do one and done? Okay, guys, I'll leave that today. I'm ArchieLuxury. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and tell me what you guys think of that. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW.
The Rolex Submariner date. Probably the most versatile, the most famous, the most wanted watch of 2020. The Rolex Submariner. Absolutely stunning. I've gone for the steel model. I wanted something that could be worn every day. The businessman's delight. Look at the side profile. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. I've got to tell you, I am in love with this Submariner. Black on black. Does it get any better? Black on black. The Rolex Submariner. This is what this is just such a beautiful look at the. I got to tell you, the maxi, that just the whole thing, this whole thing is everything the ceramic sub should have been from day one. Absolutely winner, chicken dinner. Absolutely. And it's got the new clasp with the glide lock for easy adjustments. Absolutely winner, chicken dinner.
Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Pateks came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.